All right, so the reason why there's a part 2 to this homework is I took a look at my number 49, and I had put my side 5 as negative and 8 as positive, so obviously that's a mistake. So for part 2, let's finish up 49, and then we'll move on to today's lesson. So if we know that U is in quadrant 4, like 300 degrees, any quadrant in quadrant 4, if we take half of that, that has to put us in quadrant 2. Half of 300 is 150. Any angle in quadrant 4, if you take half, it turns into quadrant 2. So if we're in quadrant 2, sine would be positive, cosine would be negative, and tangent we'd have to figure out by using our formula. All right, so now let's figure this out. For number 49, the formula for sine is 1 minus the cosine. This will be fun to reduce, over 2. For cosine, it's going to be 1 plus the cosine over 2. And for tangent, I'm going to use the formula 1 minus the cosine over sine. And let's see if we could figure this out now. So instead of saying I'm going to divide the whole top by 2, which is what I'm doing, I'm going to multiply the whole top by 1 over root 2. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to multiply the whole top by 1/2. And this turns into a positive square root of 1/2 minus 5 root 89 over 89 times 2 is 178. If I combine these fractions, I'd have to multiply this by 89 over 89. This would be the square root of 89 minus 5 root 89 all over the square root of 178. We'd have to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 178 to clean things up. And this would give us our final answer of 89 root 178 minus 5 square root of, 89 times 178 is 15,842 divided by the denominator of 178. So I know the back of your book pretty much stops like right here. I'm going to talk to Mr. Cilio and I'll ask, what he expects you guys to know how to do, but that's the best mathematical answer. There's no radical in the denominator. Let's take a look at cosine. We're going to be doing the same thing. I'll multiply the top by 1 over 2. So we would have a negative square root of 1/2 plus 5 root 89 divided by 178. We're going to be doing the same thing we just did. We'll have to multiply this by 89 over 89, which gives us negative square root of 89 plus 5 square root 89 over the square root of 178. And if we multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 178, we get negative square root 89 square root of 178 plus 5 square root of 15,842 divided by 178. And again, that's the best mathematical answer because there's no radical in the denominator. I think your book stops right here, but just stay tuned for a later lesson and I'll clarify what my expectations are. And then for our last one with the tangent of u over 2, let's get a common denominator on top. So it's going to be 89 minus 5 root 89 over 89. I'm going to be multiplying by the reciprocal of 89 over negative 8 root 89. These would cancel. and I would get 89 minus 5 root 89 over negative 8 root 89, and let's see here, we can multiply top and bottom by the square root of 89. This would be 89 root 89 minus 5 times 89, all divided by negative 8 times 89. All right, well, we could actually take out a factor of 89 from the top. And take out a factor of 89 from the bottom. And our answer would actually be this. Negative 5 plus the square root of 89 over negative 8. All right, it's not pretty, but that would be one of the answers. I think the book lists a slightly different form of that, but numerically it would be the same thing. All right, so stay tuned for today's lesson.